welcome to It's All Good. I'm your host, Latavia, back for another episode. Thought I'd bring back the old greeting. Hadn't done that in a while, but I am happy to be here, happy to be alive, happy to be in my right mind, all that good stuff. Thank you all for listening. Be just gonna jump right into it. What I am grateful for today is just the reminders that God gives me of the fact that He is God and that's not ever going to change, and that He loves me, He's chosen me. There's nothing that I can do about it, and that even when I'm having my moments of doubt or fears, concerns, whatever ridiculousness that I have created in my head, that God still loves me. He's the same constant, and the same way that He has done things for me, not just done things for me, but the fact that I think of the song Kiara Shear, it keeps happening. Like, good things keep happening in spite of the bad and the evil that is going on in the world and around us. There's still good that happens, and God is still good, and positives are still around even in the midst of all of the craziness. And so I'm grateful for just, that awareness, and kind of a reminder I feel like I got this week. And so yeah, I'm feeling good. And more than the feeling, I think it's kind of, I'm getting closer to that point of when I hear, people you have joy, or there's this peace, of regardless of what's going on or how you're feeling, this knowing that it's gonna be all good. It's all good, regardless of what it looks or feels like. It's starting to become real and not just words that I say. And so I am grateful for that. Also grateful for you all listening. And so in kind of thinking of that, everything, like I said, everything that I do specific to this podcast or just in general, I always try to approach it from a standpoint or attitude of gratitude, and thinking about extending grace to people. But one of the things that I would say, yes, has been an ongoing struggle for me, and I don't think that I'm alone in this, but essentially is extending grace to yourself, extending grace to myself. I am very critical of myself, very hard on myself. And for the most part, that has helped me to accomplish the things that I've accomplished, or just kind of be able to keep going when there are just a lot of unknowns. But where that has become a hindrance for me is oftentimes when I am trying to do something different, do something new, take a risk, do things where I am absolutely have no control, which realistically is everything when we actually think about it. But one of the areas that I would say that this has shown up for me more recently, as I am in the process of starting a new business, and starting it and running a business in a way that I haven't done before, in the sense of preparing to enter into full-time entrepreneurship, so that I can in turn help other entrepreneurs, as well as help other individuals, so that they, are able to grow, prosper, sustain, develop, and leave legacies. But it's like, in getting there, the goal, I would say, I'm very clear on what the end goal will be, but that process in the middle, that word process. And I know last episode I was talking about surrendering and trusting the process. It sounds real good and it's very easy to say, but doing it day to day has not come as easy. And part of that process for me, in terms of looking at what I have going on, what others are doing, that whole market research, especially in this current our current state in terms of the role that social media plays. And I'm guilty of scrolling a lot. Spend a lot of time looking at things on Instagram, TikTok, just in general internet. And so I think it's great to have access to those things because it is very informative, but it can also be a hindrance, because it's very easy to get caught up scrolling. And before you know it, 30 minutes, an hour has passed by, and it's like, oh, wait, there's something I was supposed to be doing. Or I went on here to look for one specific thing, and then all of a sudden I am down a rabbit hole somewhere looking at all these different pages or different things. And so that has been great in the sense of just getting some information. It can be informative, it's definitely entertaining. But in doing that, that has, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say triggered, but kind of brought back to the surface. I guess that is triggered, but essentially the thought of, oh, well, I'm not where I want to be, or I don't have what this person has, or hey, this person's been doing this thing less time than me, but they're having this is what it looks like. And social media is definitely kind of like, I don't know, I don't even want to say gateway drug for that, but it's, if you are not secure, even if you are secure in who you are and what you're doing, I think there is the possibility of being tempted to compare to others and to other situations. And I think that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And I don't know who said it or what the full context of that statement was, but it's true. And Jonathan McReynolds has the song "Comparison Kills," and it's true because you can, when we are, and I'll just speak for myself, when I am alone by myself, having thoughts in my quiet time, journaling, just thinking about ideas, it's like, oh, okay, this could be good. Let me try this, do this, that, and the third. And then you start looking at others, other people in business in general, or similar businesses, or just other people, like life in general, of what's happening for other people. And it's like, I want that. That hasn't happened for me. Well, I did XYZ, but the result was different. Why did it happen? What's different about me, or what's different? Why is that not happening for me the same way it's happening for others? And there's endless possibilities in terms of if we go down the road of comparing, or comparing and contrasting. And what I have found for myself is a lot of times it tends to be more on the negative side of, and then you get caught up focusing on what's not happening or what's not good. And I'm pretty sure that I have been here before or talked about this before, but it's one of those things that it keeps coming, or there's always going to be something or someone in life that we have the tendency to compare ourselves to. And I think for me, where I'm getting to is realizing that, okay, hey, those moments are going to come, but I don't have to stay there. I don't have to dwell on it. I can just acknowledge, hey, that is great for them. God, I see what you're doing for others, so thank you for doing it for me. Or, hey, let me just, and I've always been one to congratulate and applaud people for the successes or things that are going on, but it's just a matter of remembering, like, hey, what's for me is for me. And my dad used to always say, in due season. And even in the Bible, it says in due season. I don't know when due season is. And sometimes I want to tell due season to come on and hurry up, because it does not operate in the time that I think it should. But of course, our timing is not God's timing. And as much as I get frustrated by the fact that things sometimes take longer than I would like, I still believe that everything happens for a reason, and that there is a time for everything, and that timing is important. And I also feel like I just said a whole bunch of cliches, which sometimes when I hear them from other people, even when I say them to myself, I want to, like, oh, just shut up, because that sounds good. But really though, what am I going to do in the meantime? And it's that in the meantime that I would say that I feel like I have been literally in that in the meantime in this season of my life as I am transitioning. um and it's like, on one hand, it's I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to all the things that I'll be able to do, all the people that I'll be able to work with and help, um, as I embark on this new journey of full-time entrepreneurship in the sense of, and I would say, yes, I've opened or I'm opening a new law firm. And in this situation, I'm doing it by myself and I'm doing it full time, because for, well, the last close to 6 years, I've had a firm, had the business, but it was always something that I would say I essentially treated it operated more as a side hustle or as a part-time business. And for those of you listening or anyone who knows someone who has been in business, it's not as easy. And I remember one of my professors in law school saying, the law is an evil mistress. She doesn't do mystery. She does not like being treated like a mistress. And there's no real part-time practice of law. And me being the stubborn person that I can be was kind of like, ha, I'll show you. And in many ways, I was able to do it and able to, in the sense of being able to continue to work in other fields and learn and gain new experiences while having a business or this outlet, so that I was still able to help people. But what often became, I won't even say a challenge, but one of the things that kept coming up was like, hey, one has to suffer for the other. I have to pull away from one so that I can do more with the other. And even got to the point of, hey, I like this cushion and security of this company is going to, I'm going to get that check every whatever day the payday is. And I like this. And there is a sense of security in that. But I have learned firsthand based on my experiences, as well as just watching everything that has happened this last almost 2 years. I say 2020 and 2020 junior, aka 2021. That nothing. I think there's nothing has ever been guaranteed, but I just feel like that has become even more evident, and we are much more aware of the fact that tomorrow truly is not promised, and we just never know. There's so many unknowns, and there really is no job security, at least not in the way that I feel like we used to think of it as, or the way that it used to work. Most companies, there's no such thing as a pension anymore. A lot of companies have done away with having full-time employees, because if you have full-time employees, you have to offer benefits. So, hey, if I just keep you right under that threshold, then I'm not responsible for that. So just a lot of different things that I would say definitely during this pandemic has been like, okay, as my grandma used to say, time to stop pussyfooting around and just decide, what are you going to do? And so I made the decision to take this step, take this leap in terms of starting the law firm. And so, like I said, I'm in the process of doing that. That's also why there may be few gaps in between when I'm able to record. But like I said, going back to this process and things that I am learning and going through this, is I've been everything that I have done or been through up until this point has prepared me for this. And that's true in the sense of professionally as well as personally. And especially as it's kind of coming to the end of the calendar year, thinking back on, okay, things that I said I wanted to do, versus what's happening now, where I am. And it's like, okay, instead of thinking about those things that may not have happened, or where I feel like I may have fallen short, it's no, let me focus on the things that have happened, that are going well, and realizing that, hey, just because I and somebody else at the beginning of the year, this is what we said we were going to do, and they stuck to it, I didn't. Okay, that's great for them. That doesn't have to be an indictment on me and my work ethic, my discipline, any of those things. It can be a, hey, let's take a step back, let's recalibrate to figure out, okay, was there something that wasn't that, was there an area where I could improve in how I was doing something? What are the I think of in corporate, they always say, what are the opportunity zones? What are some opportunities, or where are there opportunities for growth? And so looking at it from that standpoint, and I have to honestly say, yes, a lot did happen. As I mentioned in the last episode, I was able to purchase a home, which is something that I have wanted to do for a very long time. And with that, it has brought its own new set of challenges, or not even challenges, but just new sets of opportunities, I'll say, in the sense of just there's things that you think about or you may be aware of, but then there's things that you just had no clue until you're in it. And which reminds me of, that whole saying, never say never. And I often tell people I don't like saying, making those statements of like, oh, I'll never do this, or this will never be me, because you really don't know what you'll do or who you'll be in a situation until you're presented with it. We can have the best intentions to not do something or to do something, but then, of course, we get presented with that opportunity, and the situation has us acting differently than we would have expected. So overall, what I'm saying is comparison is definitely the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of peace, really, because if you spend so much time thinking about what other people are doing, or what something else, what another situation looks like or is like, it creates anxiety. It creates stress. It just makes everything so much more difficult, and it's energy that could be spent on focusing on, okay, hey, well, what am I doing? What do I have going on? And well, okay, if they do it this way, well, hey, they're not me. And I think that's the biggest part of recognizing when the temptation or the urge to compare, or even to focus on, I think about the Venn diagram, the compare and contrast. Oftentimes we end up focusing on those areas of contrast, of like, and also because it seems negative, because we're focusing on the areas in someone else or another situation where we feel like those things are good, and or something that we aspire or admire. So then if it does not look like that in our situation, or there's an aspect of us that does not look like that thing, then it's like, oh, something must be wrong with me, or it's not being, I'm not being received the same way. My host, my life does not look the way this other person's life looks. And I think sometimes we do it without even realizing it. And so I think it's important to just kind of make sure we're taking the time to kind of check in with ourselves to figure out, well, what is going on. And for me, what has been I guess the constant, or the thing that kind of pulls me back, is remembering I am uniquely and wonderfully made. There is no one else like Latavia. Even though I have realized there are a lot more people with the name Latavia than I once was aware or believed. But that aside, there are still only one Latavia Shante Alexander, and regardless of what someone else is doing or has already been done, just because someone else may have had the idea, doesn't mean that they're the only one that can execute the idea. Because think about, you go in the grocery store and walk down any given aisle, there are at least 5 different types or brands of the same product. but that didn't stop them from deciding to start. You know, you think about all the different types of breads there are, the different types of cereal, of peanut butter, just anything you can think of, even ginger ale. You know, I do enjoy me a good ginger ale, but even and I know within my family we are Seagram's ginger ale family, but there's Canada Dry, there's Schweppes, um, some Bold Rock, there's Verner's, there's all different types, but whoever, you know, whichever company came second, third, fourth, or fifth, they had to think about, okay, yes, we're about to create a product that is similar to something that's already out there, but what makes ours different? How do we stand out? And that is one thing that, like I said, for me is focusing on what makes me me. How is my approach different? As I've been working with this brand advisor and just kind of going through all of these things, it's been eye-opening in the sense that I have done this with my clients, or these are a lot of the questions that I ask people when I'm working with them, whether they are, you know, they're looking to start a business, if they want to trademark something, even in terms of thinking about developing your estate plan of what are the things that are important to you? What do you want to be known for? Or what are you known for? How do people, how are you, you know, what is your perception of how you are viewed? Or what is the perception that you, what is the message you want to give? So it's focusing on those things that make you you. The smallest detail, the biggest, you know, the biggest thing, it doesn't matter. Because there's even, you know, one of the things, a question I get often in terms of people, or people will come up to me saying that they want to go to law school. And even this translates in terms of when you are deciding to do something, it's, you know, what is your why? Why do you want to do this? Because when those moments come that you feel like you're starting to compare yourself to others, sometimes that makes you think, okay, well, you know what, I don't need to do this, or I'm not going to, or it might not work, I'm not sure, or hey, this is just too hard, I'm tired, I want to just, it's easier. In many respects, it can be easier to just get up and go to a job, or, and not in the sense of just going to a job, but being able to focus on the thing that you like doing or that you love doing, and not having to also manage everything related to getting it done. And hey, let me just focus on, if I'm a mechanic, let me focus on these cars. I will make sure the car is fixed. I can do that. All the other stuff in terms of dealing with people, managing finances, getting contracts, all of that stuff, hey, leave that to somebody else. I want to focus on this. And so I would say that's also, I would say, a reminder that I've gotten, or I've been reminded of the fact that yes, there is a difference between doing what you love and running a business or being a business owner. And so for me, it's, I have said those things to people for so many years, but never truly took the time to think about what that looked like for me or how that feels. And I'll be honest, some days it is scary, some days it is overwhelming, some days it is so much, you know, I get so overwhelmed with the thoughts or things that I think it's the saying analysis paralysis, like I just overthink and get in my head about stuff that is like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop, I'm gonna go over here under this rock and I'll be good. But the important thing is that I have to remind myself, you know, in terms of extending myself grace, that those moments will come. It's okay. Embrace it, accept it, kind of sit in it for a minute or for however long it's, you know, kind of give myself some time to kind of sit in that, in those feelings or in that emotion, and then okay, hey, that's how I feel, but all right, there's still work to be done. And what can I do to address this? How can I adjust? What is in my control to do, you know, and what are those things that are out of my control? You know, think about the serenity prayer. And it's crazy that all of these sayings, and I used to always just refer to them as cliches, but like I said, as I get older, a lot of those things have become more than just words to me. It's actually helpful. Although I still don't always want to hear them in certain situations, because it's like, hey, yeah, I know that, but don't say that to me right now, because that's not how I'm feeling. Just let me feel, let me be in this moment. And so I try to do that for others as well. But at the end of the day, my lesson learned, my encouragement to you listening is that yes, those moments will come. The way things, we are headed towards the metaverse, whatever that will be. But in terms of social media, it's not going away. People aren't going away, at least I pray not anytime soon. So, we are human, and I think human nature lends itself to comparison, or, emotions and feelings. And so those things are going to happen. But remember that there are things about you that are unlike anyone else. And so embrace those things, embrace those aspects, and take that and run with it. And if we keep doing that, it will keep help us to keep moving forward. Whether it is just in living life, because being an adult is a job in and of itself. And so regardless of what you're doing in terms of how you make your living, whether you're single, you're married, you have children, you don't, you have animals, whatever the case may be, focus on what you're doing and what works for you and yours. And don't worry about the Joneses. Let them do what they're doing, and you keep pushing towards what it is that you are working on. So thank you all for listening. Like I said, I am continuing to learn and grow every day. I would love to hear from you all if there are things that, lessons you've learned, or ways that you are combating this whole comparison phenomenon, or just dealing with life in general. I would love to hear from you. But thank you all for listening. Remember that regardless of how it looks or feels, it is all working out for our good. And let's stay focused on the process and not the destination, so that we can enjoy this journey called life. Until next time.